Iga Swiatek headed to another Slam semifinal. Can she win it all? As always, this video is brought to you via the Doctrine of Fair Use, the Fair Dealing, and the Digital Millennium Act. I want to talk about Iga Swiatek. I want to talk about the semifinals here in Australia, but I also want to talk about the rules, ladies and gentlemen. Emma Navarro was robbed a point last night. Did you see it? Okay. If not, I got you covered here. Now, on a short ball that hit the ground, Iga Swiatek was able to return this ball. Emma Navarro. Now, from my perspective, this is a tough view for Emma, right? It's very tough. Not only that, play is so fast. The best person to make this call is the chair umpire. They are elevated. They are right on top of the action, and they can see it. You guys ever hear that joke about the guy, he goes into Starbucks and he just wants a large black coffee. That's right. That's all he wants. So the Starbucks worker, the employee says, do you have a rewards card? He says, no, I just want a large black coffee. That's it. She says, okay, what's your name for the order? He says, no, don't worry about it. I just want a large black coffee. He says, actually, I can see the coffee there. Just turn around, pour it in the cup. Give me the cup so I can go. That's it. I just want a large black coffee. That's all I want. It's right there. He says, that's right there. It's right there. This is how I feel about this call. The chair umpire is right there. You have to make this call. She can make this call, ladies and gentlemen. Chair umpire can do whatever they want. But listen, not so fast. We all know with the ELC, it's taking the power that the chair umpires have to manage the game properly out of their hands. Now, the big fuss is that this ball clearly hit the ground. Emma was robbed a point, but let's not put the onus on Emma Navarro. Let's not put the pressure on Emma Navarro to have to make this call in the middle of this action, because there's two scenarios that can play out here. Well, technically three. The first is Emma gets away with this ball hitting the ground. She returns it. Emma Navarro, or should I say Iga, gets away with the ball hitting the ground here. Emma Navarro returns it, wins the point, and then, look, nothing said about it. The second option here is Emma Navarro can lose the point. Either way, she can stop, call a challenge mid-action, and the call be wrong and still lose the point. So she can either win the point or lose the point, is what I'm trying to say. But the reality here is, at what point do we just make sure we want to get these calls right? It's just there's so many situations going on here that it could even be tough to just explain the different scenarios. But I think it leads to one simple solution. If a call or a play is in question, it should be reviewed. Now, Coco has talked about this. She's had a lot of issues last year with chair umpires, right? And not necessarily ELC calls, right, or Hawkeye calls, but calls like this. Sabal Linka's on board with it. She agrees with it. And Emma Navarro says, yeah, she's on board with it as well. I am on board with it. If a call is wrong, we should have the chair umpires, the players should have the opportunity to get the call right? The world saw this ball hit the ground. Iga gets the point. Now, I want to clarify. Would it have mattered in this particular match? Probably not, right? Iga, and we're going to talk about strength of schedule in a minute. Would it have mattered in this particular match? Probably not. Iga's dominating Emma Navarro, who's literally 2 years removed from ITF circuit. Let's just be honest, right? Iga dominated this match. But when we're talking about calls, this happens too much. The ELC is one thing. That's just a nightmare. I've talked all tournament how it's made so many incorrect calls, and chair umpires can't do anything about it. Players can't do anything about it. When they come to the match, the chair umpire says every time before the match, you cannot challenge line calls. But you can challenge calls like this, but the action's happening so fast, you don't have a good view. The natural instinct is If the call's not made by the chair umpire, it's to play on. Tennis is happening so fast. You can't just stop and say, oh, that's out. No. And Emma said it herself. I agree with her. It's like it's happening so fast. What do you do? Because you still have a small percentage to win the point anyway, and then you forget about it. But the call should be made. The call was missed. It's her point. And I think that's what we have to understand. It's Emma's point, regardless whether she played or didn't challenge. It's her point. She should be awarded the point. The ball hit the ground. You know what I mean? It's just, that's how it works. So, I mean, what do you guys think? So it's a juicy topic of discussion, but the reality here is it's Emma's point. The players should be allowed, like any of these other professional sports, you do a quick and here's the thing. The service clock is 25 seconds. You have players using all 25 seconds and then taking another 20 seconds on the second serve. A play like this, we have someone in New York standing by, review this. They, radio it in to the chair umpire who has a headset on anyway, or a two-way radio. And boom, this call could be made in 20 seconds, 25 seconds, right? The time it would take to get a first serve in. So it's not like it's going to be this long review process because the game has slowed up anyway. And I've talked about how the service clock has slowed up the game. These older players, the average ranked top 20 players, 28, 29 years old, they are using all of this service clock. This game has completely slowed up, and it also affects players like Coco that want to play fast. They want to wear you down, right? What do you guys think? Do we need to change something? If you see a call is wrong, do we need to change it to have these players have the resources and options to get the point that they won and should have been awarded? I think so. The game's got to change. There's too much on the line. There's rankings, there's points, there's money. If the call's wrong, we need to have the technology. And we have the technology. It's not a matter of technology. It's a matter of having the ability to get the call right. And right now, the chair umpires don't have that. The players don't have that, especially when we're talking about the ELC. But a call like this, yes, Emma has the replay ability, but the game's moving too fast for her to just stop and say, hey, that was out. It's moving. The game is moving too fast. There has to be some type of method, some type of rule change to where if we know the call's wrong, it has to be corrected because the play is so fast. But I also want to talk about scheduling, right? And we're going to get into the semifinals really quick as well. Jordan fist pump from Iga, who's just dominated this draw. Listen, guys, in terms of seeding with these slams, for the most part, the top seeds, the seeding is in order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Once you get out of the top 10 seeds, you get into the teens and the 20s, the seeding is not necessarily in numerical order. Once you're outside of seeded players, it's the Wild West. These matchmakers can do whatever they want. And we've seen it in the past. And in fact, we've seen Serena, who wasn't even seeded, coming back from having the baby. She was given a seed. She was ranked nearly 200 on the World Tour and giving a seed. So, look, they can change rules. They can do whatever they want. And we've seen it, right? How many times have I talked about Robin Montgomery, a junior slam champ, being put against Haley Baptiste in the first round of these tournaments? How many times are you going to put Haley and Robin to face each other in the first round, right? This is important stuff here. There's money. There's ranking points. You keep putting these players against each other. One's not going to make money and one's not going to get points. It's just, if you look at how some of these slams are being seeded, it's clear that certain players are being put in positions to go far, right? Now, outside of top seeds, it's the Wild West. We saw Sabal Linka put against a slam champion, Sloane Stephens, who, and look, I talked about Sabal Linka's draw last year, just very cakewalk. Just go look at it. It's cakewalk. Playing all these qualifiers and players that aren't even healthy. Coco was her first test in the semifinal, and we saw what happened, right? This year, they did a little better. They gave her a slam champion. But as a first seed, this is what I want to see. I want to see these players, these top seeds, have stronger, tougher matches in the first round. Osaka, Caroline Garcia, that's a tough match. Someone has to go home. Sloane Stephens, Sabal Linka, that's a tough match, right? Now, yes, Sabal Linka has dominated Sloane in that head-to-head. We know that, but she's still a slam champion, and a lot of those matches have gone 3 sets, and Sloane has been up with the chance to win. Coco taking on Sofia Kenin. Sofia Kenin just beat Coco in a slam. The Wimbledon, she eliminated Coco. She's an Australian Open champion. Sofia Kenin's a tough match for Coco. Coco's constantly had the toughest draws, and I don't know why people don't realize that. She's been stacked in Serena's draw, Venus Williams' draw, Iga's draw, Simona Halep's draw, Sabal Linka. She's played all of these elite players so many times because she's always stacked in the toughest draw. She could Sofia Kenin, someone who just beat her in a slam, right? So I just feel, and you take a look at Iga's draw, the consensus, the entire world agreed, the tennis community agreed, Iga had the easiest draw. And sure enough, she gets Katerina Siniakova in the first round, who, like, you're kidding me. Iga's draw, very easy, not even challenged, just cruising through this draw. And now she's the overall favorite to win it. What I think needs to happen is, now, if you're, the argument's made, hey, these players work hard and they win matches to earn their seeding. The reality here is there's a gap in competition between the top 10 and the rest of the tour anyway, right? If you're a top 10 player, you should beat someone that doesn't have as good of a ranking as you. That's just common sense. These draws have to be tougher, okay? Outside of the seeded players, there's a lot of good competition, and they need to be matched up with these tougher opponents early on to give us good matches early on. You can't have a cakewalk just going through these draws. I don't think it's right. And the reality here is you can look at these draws and see who is being favorited. And it's never been Coco. She's always had the toughest draws. What do you guys think? What's the solution for that? Because right now, it's the Wild West. They do what they want. They don't follow seeds and ranking. They don't. They do whatever they want. And the reality here is Osaka and Caroline Garcia said it best. So what do you think about that? Really quick, let's take a look at the semifinals. Madison Keys is hot, ladies and gentlemen. She's taking on Iga, someone she's never done well against. Iga owns a head-to-head 4-1. I think they recently played, they played most of their matches on clay. You got clay in Rome, Madrid. Now, the last time they played on hard was Cincinnati. I did an amazing prediction video. It was like 6 for 6, $1 would have won you back like $2,000, right? So I told you that Madison Keys would beat Iga Swiatek outright. So I took the time, I calculated the numerology, it came out, it hit. I don't have time to be doing that nowadays, but then again, the people that want picks, it's not a big part of the channel anyway. We have a lot of Coco supporters that want to hear what Coco's doing, and they want to talk about her progress. That's really the bulk of the channel, and those are the ones that are contributing the most, which is why you're getting more Coco stuff. That's what they want. They're driving the channel now. So the reality here is, I think Madison's going to be in a tough spot. I mean, Iga's playing very well. The key here is Iga can attack the backhand of Keys, and it's a consensus. A lot of the stuff I say is not like I'm making this stuff up. I watch it from watching the matches, but then I also hear a lot of the former players and experts agree with me, and I reinforce it. Madison Keys' weakness, her career has been her backhand. It's no secret. She's never been able to really set up the backhand or attack with the backhand, so she overuses her forehand. And this is why I say Madison Keys can hit wide and long, much like a Yastremska, much like a Camilla Giorgi, who's, by the way, having an amazing modeling career right now. She overuses the forehand, which is why she gets into trouble. Iga can attack her backhand. She can attack her footwork. Madison Keys can win the match, though. This is on hard. Most of Iga's wins against Madison has been on clay, where she's got to slide into that running forehand. Madison Keys serves well. She has a chance against Iga Swiatek. I want to talk about Sabal Linka and Iga. Now, again, I talked about the scheduling. To put Sloane Stephens, a slam champion, to face Sabal Linka, I think that's better. right? Because you have someone that has been competitive against Sabal Linka. Sloane has been, even though she hasn't done well in that head-to-head, she hasn't, I don't even think she's beat Sabal Linka, but she has been in position to win those matches. She's just ran out of gas. But she plays more aggressive. She attacks. I like that matchup, right? Emma Navarro against Iga, it's not competitive. We know that's not going to be competitive. I do still consider Emma learning on the job, but I do like the matchup against Badosa Sabalenka. I think that's a good semifinal matchup, even though if you count the World Tennis League, Sabalenka owns the head-to-head 6-2. I mean, they played a lot of matches on clay. They played at the French Open recently. Sabalenka won that in straight sets. They played in Germany at Stuttgart. That went 3, but Paula Badosa had to retire. But I want to take a look at the Miami matchup, the hard matchup, right? Last year, 6-4, 6-3. Sabalenka had a lot going on. Her former boyfriend passed away, suicide, very sad. And still, ladies and gentlemen, she won that in straight sets. Here's the thing. I think it's going to be a forehand duel. I think Paula Badosa wants to get to the forehand. Sabalenka has a good backhand, it's powerful. I think it's going to be a forehand exchange. And I just think, as Caroline stated, if you get balls back against Paula Badosa, she clearly gets frustrated, she gets nervous, she gets rattled, and she makes mistakes. Sabalenka, factor in how fast she plays, her +1, that wide serve. Paula Badosa is going to be under enormous pressure, and I think she's going to crack. Even though that's her friend, Sabalenka is not going to hold back with another chance to three-peat. I think it's going to be a very difficult matchup for Sabalenka. And in fact, guys, look, Paula Badosa 2 matches ago was plus 2,800 to win the Australian Open. Sabalenka's going to be in the final. So I like Sabalenka to get past Paula Badosa again. It's just a bad matchup. And but I'm happy. Congratulations, Paula Badosa is back inside the top 10. She's a big-time personality. So congratulations to her. Stay tuned, guys. We got a lot more tennis to talk. We're going to focus more on stories as we get down to the final matchup here in Australia. Tennis in a minute. Like the video. Show some love. We'll be right back, guys.